You're listening to Just a Dude podcast with your host, Nathan. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's roll. Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Just a Dude in the News on Just a Dude podcast. I'm your host, Nathan, just a regular guy breaking down the biggest stories hitting the U.S. from July 18th to today, July 25th, 2025. We're keeping it real, laid back, but sharp, diving into what's got the nation buzzing. Got my coffee, got my notes, I'm ready to roll. Let's get into the top 10 stories of the week. Buckle up, it's gonna be a wild ride. All right, let's kick things off with some drama from D.C. on July 24th. President Trump and Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell got into it over the Fed's $2.5 billion headquarters renovation project. Trump's calling it a waste of taxpayer money, saying the Fed should focus on keeping the economy strong, not sprucing up their offices. Powell's pushing back, arguing the upgrades are needed for security and tech to keep the financial system humming. It's a classic clash of priorities, and it's got folks talking about government spending again. Now, I get it. $2.5 billion sounds like a crazy number for a remodel. Trump's out here saying he's all about making America affordable again, and a lot of folks, especially on the right, are nodding along, thinking the Fed should tighten its belt just like the rest of us. But Powell's got a point too. Those buildings house some serious tech that keeps our money moving. If they're outdated, that's a problem. Still, you can't ignore the optics of spending billions when people are feeling the pinch at the pump. This story's got legs because it's not just about a building. It's about trust in institutions. Polls are showing Trump's approval dipping to 44.6%, and critics are saying he's picking fights like this to distract from other stuff, like that Epstein case we'll get to later. Meanwhile, some conservatives are cheering him on, saying he's holding the Fed accountable. Social media's lit up with memes about gold-plated Fed faucets versus keep America first. So where's this headed? The White House says Trump's team is reviewing federal budgets line by line, so expect more of these dust-ups. Powell's standing firm for now, but with trade talks and tariffs looming, this renovation spat might just be a warm-up. What do you think? Is this a legit concern or just political theater? Hit me up on social media and let me know your thoughts. Next up, we've got Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. making waves with changes to how the feds handle vaccine recommendations. On July 25th, reports dropped that RFK Jr. is tweaking the process, sparking a rush from some parents to get their kids vaccinated before any new rules kick in. This comes after a measles outbreak that started back in January, so the timing's got people on edge. Look, vaccines are a hot-button issue, and RFK Jr. has been very vocal about wanting more transparency in how they're approved. His supporters, plenty of whom lean to the right, say he's just asking for accountability, especially after years of distrust in health agencies. But critics are worried this could lead to looser requirements, maybe even limiting access down the line. NPR is reporting that some families are hitting clinics ASAP, fearing future restrictions. The measles outbreak's a big part of why this story's blowing up. It's hit multiple states, and public health folks are saying consistent vaccination is the only way to stop it. RFK Jr.'s changes aren't banning vaccines or anything, but they're shaking up the advisory process, which has some doctors nervous. On X, you've got folks praising him for questioning the system, while others are calling it reckless. It's a divide, man. What's next? The administration's saying it's all about giving people choices, but with Trump's push to cut healthcare costs, there's talks of paring back Medicaid too. That's got some worried about medical debt piling up for families. This one's going to keep simmering, so keep an eye on it. Do you have thoughts on vaccine or RFK Jr.'s moves? Drop me an email, let's talk about it. All right, moving on to higher education. On July 24th, Columbia University agreed to pay over $200 million in a federal settlement to unlock funding that got frozen amid some controversy. This deal's a big deal because it lets Columbia keep its federal contracts and grants, which are huge for research and student aid. Both sides are claiming a win here, but it's got people talking about government oversight of universities. The backstory's a bit messy. The feds are looking into Columbia's foreign funding, part of a broader Trump administration push to crack down on colleges with ties to certain countries. Some on the right are all for this, saying it's about national security and keeping foreign influence out of our schools. But Colombia is arguing they've been transparent, and this settlement proves they're in the clear. This story is resonating because it touches on bigger issues, like how much control the government should have over universities. Social media is buzzing with posts from students and professors worried about academic freedom, while others are like, hey, if you're taking foreign cash, you better be ready for scrutiny. The deal also sets a precedent, so other schools might be sweating right now. What's the vibe moving forward? Trump's team is doubling down on auditing colleges, so expect more of these showdowns. Colombia is back to business, but the debate over foreign influence isn't going away anytime soon. If you're a student or just care about education, this one's worth watching. What's your take? Hit me up. Let's keep this conversation going. All right, let's talk tech. On July 24th, President Trump rolled out new AI policies that set some strict rules for companies wanting to do business with the feds. Think requirements for data security, transparency, and keeping AI development on U.S. soil. The goal? Protect national interests and keep America ahead in the tech race. But it's got Silicon Valley sweating a bit. The right's loving this, saying it's about time we got tough on tech giants and made sure AI doesn't get hijacked by foreign powers. Trump's been vocal about wanting American innovation to lead, and these policies tie into his America First vibe. But some tech folks are worried it's too heavy-handed, maybe stifling startups or pushing companies to move operations overseas to dodge the new rules. X is popping off with reactions. You've got tech bros crying about red tape, while others are like, good, keep our tech secure. There's even chatter about OpenAI prepping to launch GPT-5 in August, so the timing of these rules is raising eyebrows. Could this slow down the AI boom or make it stronger? Hard to say, but it's definitely a big shift. The White House says this is just the start, with more guidelines coming to balance innovation and security. If you're into tech or just wondering how AI is going to shape the future, this story's got your name on it. What do you think? Too much regulation or just right? Let me know your thoughts. All right, let's get into some legal news. Former Congressman George Santos started a 7-year prison sentence on July 24th for fraud charges, including wire fraud and identity theft. Dude got expelled from Congress after admitting to scamming donors and misusing identities to fund his campaign. It's a wild fall from grace, and people are split on it. Santos' case is a lightning rod. Some folks, especially conservatives who value accountability, are like, hey, justice served. Others, including a few MAGA supporters, think the punishment's too harsh and are even calling for a Trump pardon. On social media, you've got people posting about how the system's too tough on some while letting others skate. It's a classic debate about fairness in the justice system. What's crazy is how Santos went from Capitol Hill to a cell block. The guy was known for stretching the truth, and now he's paying the price for it. The story's also sparking talk about campaign finance laws and whether they need a serious overhaul. Nobody's saying Santos is a saint, but some argue the rules are so complex it's easy to trip up. Where's this going? Well, Santos is locked up, but the chatter about a pardon isn't dying down. With Trump's focus on shaking up the system, who knows what could happen? If you've got thoughts on Santos or the justice systems, slide into my DMs on all my social media. I'd love to carry on the conversation. Next, we're moving on to a big one for anyone with student loans. On July 24th, Trump signed a major overhaul of the federal student loan system, impacting nearly 43 million borrowers. The details are still rolling out, but it's aimed at simplifying repayment and cutting some federal oversight. Supporters say it's about giving borrowers more freedom, but critics are worried it could mean less protection. This is a win for a lot of conservatives who've been pushing to scale back the education department. They argue the old system was bloated and trapped people in debt forever. Trump's team is framing this as a way to make college more affordable in the long run, but Democrats are saying it might screw over low-income borrowers who rely on forgiveness programs. On social media, you've got borrowers freaking out, some stoked about lower payments, others worried about losing their safety nets. NPR is reporting that schools are already feeling the squeeze, with summer programs scrambling as funding gets cut. It's a mixed bag, freedom versus security, and nobody's sure how it'll play out yet. The White House says the changes start rolling out soon, so if you've got loans, check your account. This could change how you pay for years to come. What's your take on student debt? Hit me up. Let's talk, as I've got plenty of it. All right, let's go global for a moment. On July 25th, ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas hit a wall, with both sides pulling negotiators after Hamas responded to a new proposal. The U.S. is involved, and Trump's been pushing for peace, but it's looking rough. Israel's now talking alternative options to get hostages back and to deal with Hamas. This one's tough. The right's generally pro-Israel, and Trump's renewed calls for ceasefire in Gaza and Ukraine show he's trying to flex some diplomatic muscle. But with talk stalling, some in social media are saying the administration's in over its head. Others are like, give Trump credit for trying where others have failed. It's a messy situation, and the human toll's real. Reports of starvation in Gaza are heartbreaking and continuing. The bigger picture here is Trump's foreign policy. He's been vocal about wanting quick wins, but Gaza's a tough nut to crack, as we've seen time and time again. Critics say his approach, leaning hard on tariffs to pressure other nations, might not work here. Supporters, though, think he's playing 4D chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Either way, the world's watching. What's next? The U.S. says it's not giving up, but with tensions high, don't expect a breakthrough soon. If you've got thoughts on how to handle this, drop them to me on social media. I'm all ears and would love to hear your feedback. Yo, this one's wild for the card sharks out there. On July 25th, NPR reported that a new provision in Trump's big domestic policy bill is hitting professional poker players hard. It's changing how losses are taxed, meaning players might owe more when they lose at the tables. The poker world's calling on Congress to ditch this rule, and they're not quiet about it. Look, if you're a gambler, you know losses are part of the game. But this new law's got players like, hold up, you're taxing my bad days now too? Conservatives are split. Some see it as a fair way to close tax loopholes, while others think it's government overreach. On social media, poker pros are posting about moving to Vegas or even overseas to avoid the hit. The story is bigger than poker, though. It's about how tax laws affect everyday hustles. The bill's got other stuff like cuts to health care and foreign aid that's got people riled up. But this poker angle's got a unique vibe, with players rallying to fight it. It's like a high-stakes bluff against the IRS. Congress is on recess soon, so don't expect any quick changes. But if you're into poker or just hate weird taxes, this one's worth following. All right, let's lighten things up a bit. On July 25th, the Lumberjack World Championships in Hayward, Wisconsin made headlines with more women, aka Lumberjills, competing than ever before. These ladies are out there chopping wood and breaking stereotypes, and it's kind of awesome. The event's been going for over 65 years, and this year's female turnout is stealing the show. I love this story because it's just cool. These women are swinging axes, climbing poles, and showing the world they're as tough as the guys. On the right, folks are hyping it up as a win for grit and tradition, while others are just stoked to see more people getting into the sport. Social media is full of videos of those Lumberjills just crushing it, and the crowd's going wild. It's not just about the competition, though. The event's boosting local economies, with Hayward seeing a ton of tourists. Plus, it's shining a light on women in sports that don't always get the spotlight. Organizers say they're pushing for even more diversity next year, which is kind of dope. If you're into an underdog story, or just love seeing people do epic stuff, check out the highlights online. You got a favorite Lumberjill moment? Share it on social media, and let's get that convo going and support these young ladies. Wrapping it up with our final story, we've got a personal one about President Trump. On July 22nd, the White House confirmed he's dealing with chronic venous insufficiency. It's a leg condition common in older folks that makes it tough for veins to pump blood back to the heart. It's not life-threatening, but it's rare for Trump's team to share health details, so it's got people talking. Trump's the oldest guy elected president, and his team usually pushes this image of him being unstoppable. So, this news is a bit of a curveball. Conservatives are mostly shrugging it off, saying it's no big deal, and he's still out there getting stuff done. But on social media, you've got some folks speculating about what it means for his stamina, while others are like, leave the guy alone, he's fine. I mean, the man does work 20 hours a day almost. What's interesting is the bigger convo it's sparking about health transparency for leaders. Some say it's refreshing to get a straight answer, while others think it's a distraction from stuff like the Epstein files or trade talks. Either way, it humanizes Trump in a way we don't often get to see. The White House says Trump's managing it with treatment, and it's not slowing him down. We've definitely seen that. But with a packed schedule, trade deadlines, foreign policy, you name it, this story's keeping the chatter alive. What do you think about leaders sharing health stuff? Is this transparency, or should they be able to keep it to themselves? Hit me up on social media. Let me know your thoughts. All right, that's a wrap on the top 10 news stories from July 18th to the 25th of 2025. From DC drama to Lumberjills killing it, we've covered a lot of ground today. Thanks for hanging out with me, Nathan, on Just a Dude in the News for your quick weekly news update on Just a Dude podcast. If you've got thoughts on these stories or something I missed, drop me an email, hit me up on social media, or drop a comment wherever you're listening. Until next time, stay curious, stay chill, and keep being just a dude or a dudette.